It was a cold Tuesday morning at East River Middle School, and the cafeteria bustled with the familiar hum of chatter and clinking trays. Most students looked forward to lunchtime, a break in the day to laugh with friends and satisfy their hunger. But for 12-year-old Marcus Williams, it was a time of quiet dread. Marcus was small for his age, with expressive brown eyes and a silence that spoke louder than words. Since his father's passing 2 years ago and his mother's struggle with multiple jobs to support him and his younger sister, life had grown increasingly difficult. The family had once been comfortable. But illness, job loss, and grief had stripped away what remained of stability. Though East River offered subsidized lunches, Marcus had missed the application deadline when his mother forgot to renew it during a particularly stressful week. Now, each day he approached the cafeteria with a knot in his stomach, not from hunger, but from the shame of having nothing on his tray while the others ate around him. On this particular Tuesday, Marcus entered the cafeteria and sat quietly at the far end of a table, avoiding the cashier's glance. His stomach growled, but he ignored it. He had mastered the art of pretending to be full, pretending not to care, pretending not to notice the pitying glances of students who had started to catch on. "Hey Marcus, you forgot your lunch again," one boy teased, biting into a chicken sandwich. Marcus shrugged, offering a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. Nearby, a sixth grader watched Marcus from behind her milk carton. Her name was Olivia, and she was the principal's daughter. She wasn't one to ignore things. Her father, Principal David Reynolds, had always told her, "If you see someone hurting, don't look away. That's how pain grows, in silence." That night, Olivia told her father what she'd seen. "Dad, I think one of the kids in my lunchroom isn't eating. Not just today. A lot of days. I don't think he can afford lunch." Principal Reynolds put down his tablet. "What's his name?" "Marcus Williams." The name struck a chord. Reynolds remembered the boy's father, Charles Williams, who had once taught at the same school before falling ill. He'd been a kind man, respected by everyone. Reynolds made a note to check the lunch program records. The next morning, Reynolds sat quietly in his office, reviewing Marcus's file. Sure enough, the free lunch application had expired. He could have simply renewed it himself and told the cafeteria to provide meals going forward, but something about the situation struck deeper. That day, he made his way to the lunchroom earlier than usual. He stood in the corner, quietly watching students pass through the line. And then came Marcus, thin, with his backpack slung loosely over his shoulder, walking slowly, head down. He passed through the line with no tray. Just like Olivia had said. Reynolds walked over and sat beside him. "Mind if I join you, Marcus?" The boy looked up, eyes wide. "Sure, I guess." They sat in silence for a moment before Reynolds said gently, "You know, Marcus, this school's lunch program is meant to make sure no student goes hungry." "I know," Marcus mumbled, "but it's okay. I'm not hungry." The light cut straight through Reynolds's heart. "I think you are," he replied quietly. "And it's not okay." Marcus looked away, embarrassed. "My mom forgot to send in the form. She's busy." "I understand," Reynolds said. "And I also know she's doing the best she can." There was a pause. "But Marcus," he continued, "you should never have to carry this alone. School is supposed to be a place where you're safe, where you belong, and where no one goes hungry." Reynolds stood up. "Come with me." Reluctantly, Marcus followed him out of the cafeteria. They walked down the hallway, past classrooms, and into the front office. Reynolds took Marcus into the staff lounge, where a warm plate of food sat waiting. "I called ahead," he said with a smile. "Olivia told me everything. I hope you don't mind. She's got your back." Marcus sat slowly. The food smelled like heaven. Reynolds watched as the boy hesitated, then took a bite. A tear rolled down Marcus's cheek. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "Don't be sorry," Reynolds said, his own eyes moist. "Be hungry. And eat." But Reynolds didn't stop there. That evening, he made a heartfelt post on the school's community page. It read, "Greater than, today, I met a student who couldn't afford lunch. Not because his family didn't care, but because life had been unfair to them. No child should carry hunger with them into a classroom. We're changing that. Starting tomorrow, East River Middle School will launch our Table for All initiative. Every student will receive lunch, no matter their ability to pay. If a student ever walks into our cafeteria hungry, we'll feed them, no questions asked. And if you want to help, we welcome your support." He hit post and closed his laptop. He didn't expect what came next. By morning, the message had gone viral across the town. Parents, alumni, and even local businesses began reaching out, offering donations, food, and volunteer time. The PTA launched a fundraiser within 24 hours. A local bakery promised daily bread donations. A retired chef offered to volunteer once a week. And a former East River student, now a successful entrepreneur, pledged to cover all lunch costs for a year. But the most powerful response came the following week during morning assembly. Principal Reynolds called Marcus to the stage. The boy stood awkwardly, unsure why he'd been summoned. Reynolds spoke into the mic. "This is Marcus Williams. He's brave, kind, and doesn't like the spotlight, so I'll keep this short. But Marcus reminded me of something I should never have forgotten. That hunger is not a personal failure, it's a collective one. And it's our job, every one of us, to make sure that no child in this school ever feels ashamed for needing help." The auditorium was silent. "Marcus," Reynolds continued, turning to him, "your quiet courage started something big. Because of you, no one will go hungry again. You've changed East River forever." A moment passed. Then the students stood. One by one, applause rang out, until the whole room roared with cheers. Marcus, overwhelmed, tried to hold back tears, but failed. And he wasn't the only one crying. Teachers wept. Parents in the back of the room wept. Even the janitor, Mr. Herrera, wiped his eyes with a handkerchief. That day, students noticed something different in the cafeteria. A new sign above the serving line read, "Greater than, welcome to the table for all. You belong here." No one asked who could pay. No one cared. Every student ate. Every child smiled. In the months that followed, the initiative became a model for schools across the district. Other principals called Reynolds for advice. Local news picked up the story. But Reynolds always said the same thing. It started with a kid named Marcus who had the courage to be hungry. As for Marcus, things began to turn. The weight he carried slowly lifted. He made new friends. He spoke up more in class. And each day he walked into the lunchroom, he walked with pride, not just because he had a tray of food, but because he knew he had sparked something far greater than himself. At the end of the school year, East River held an awards ceremony. The final award was the Heart of the School Honor, a new tradition created just that year. Principal Reynolds took the stage. "This award goes to a student who reminded us all of our responsibility to each other, who proved that even a quiet voice can echo through a whole community. Marcus Williams, this is for you." The crowd rose to its feet as Marcus stepped up, his mother in the front row, sobbing into a tissue. Marcus held the award in both hands. His voice, when it came, was quiet, but steady. "I didn't mean to start anything. I was just hungry." A ripple of laughter and tears swept the audience. "But I'm glad something happened. Because now, nobody has to feel alone. Not in this school." And with that, he stepped back, leaving the stage, and the world, a little more whole.